Kamusta, Dalis, at maligayang Pasko sa inyong lahat. To celebrate the holidays, I figured we should make a miniature puto bongbong and bibingka stand. For those who don't know, puto bongbong is a Filipino rice cake that is served every Christmas, commonly around Simbang Gabi, where there will be street vendors outside the churches selling this along with bibingka, which we will make as well. Now there are actually a ton of stuff we need to make, so I drew this for a clearer view. These are the materials you need. Let's start with the ulingan or charcoal stove. Take a strip of paper and wrap it in a small bottle. After the glue dries down, take it out and draw the outline of your ulingan. It should have a small opening right in the middle. Cut it out and trace down its bottom on a paper board. Cut 2 circles and punch a bunch of holes on one of them. Push that circle inside the stove, just above the little hole we made. Glue it in place and paint it inside out. Including the other circle. Of course, what's an ulingan without the uling? And to make that, get a glue stick and cut a tiny piece. Cover them all with black paint . And once it dries, place them all in the stove. And our ulingan is done. After we're done with that, it's time to make the steamer. Cut another paper strips and wrap it on this bottle. It doesn't really need to be this bottle as long as it has this type of shape. Take it out and cut the excess paper. Cover its top and bottom with paperboard . And paint everything in silver. And while we wait for it to dry, cut 6 strips of paper. Wrap the larger strips on a toothpick to make a tube. And at the bottom of that tube, wrap the smaller strip we made. Color its bottom with the same silver paint from before, and paint the rest of the tube with brown color. This should serve as a bamboo tubes where the puto bongbong is cooked. Next, take a small piece of tissue paper and paint it purple using a watercolor paint. After it dries, cut it to small strips and attach it to the 3 tubes we made. That will serve as the cloth used to hold the bamboo tubes out of the steamer. After that, glue those 3 tubes to the base we did earlier. And our steamer is finished. Now for the actual puto bongbong, take a piece of tissue again and crumple and roll it in a shape of a stick. Apply white glue on it to hold its shape. And while we wait for it to dry, let's make the banana leaves. Take out a green colored paper and paint it with watercolor. This is to make the colors uneven, giving it a realistic look. Paint it back to back and once it dries, take a green pen or a pencil and draw horizontal lines all over it down to its back as well. After that, cut a small rectangle and we have a banana leaves. Now with our tissue dried, cut it to small pieces, just enough to fit to our leaves. Paint them all a violet color and our rice cake is done. Next, take out a piece of white paper and cut it to tiny shreds. This will serve as our grated coconut. I use coffee powder for a muscovado sugar and we're ready to assemble our puto bongbong. First is the banana leaves, then the puto bongbong, sprinkle the grated coconut, and top it with the sugar. Just leave it to dry and our puto bongbong is done. Now our puto bongbong is not complete without its partner bibingka. Bibingka is also a Christmas food served along the puto bongbong. It's a baked rice cake cooked in a traditional terracotta oven. So of course, we need to make another ulingan. Then cut a much thinner strip and wrap it in the same bottle we used for the stove. Take it out and cover its bottom with a paper board. After that, paint it a brown color to make the clay pot. Now to make the bibingka, we need another banana leaves. But this time, cut it into a circle. It should be a bit bigger than the clay pot we made. Cut, then very gently push it into the pot. Fill it with hot glue making sure you only fill the leaves and not the pan. After it dries, pop it out of the pot and use your still hot glue gun to add texture at the top. Paint it a light yellow and very lightly add brown paint at the top to make the burnt parts of the bibingka. Next to make is the other ulingan at the top of the pot. Cut a 3 by 3 cm square of paper board and punch a hole to its 4 edges. Paint it the same silver color from before and gently fold the corners up. Now insert a thin wire to the holes we made. And make a handle with it like this. Fill it with the charcoals we made earlier and our bibingka is finished. Now that we're all done with the foods, we need to make the actual stall to place them in. Cut these 5 panels on a cardboard paper and glue it all together to make the table board. As for the legs, cut 4 long strips of paper and wrap it in a chopstick or a tin pen. Make 4 legs, then glue it to the table. Paint everything brown. And we're ready to open our puto bongbong stand. Now our little stand looks a little lonely, so I placed them next to my mini sari-sari store. But now I'm thinking it also needs a little makeover, and I will make that in part 2. So for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a merry little Christmas. Paalam!